All right, heads up. Trade deadline energy is here and it's getting louder. And if you want the quick version, the reason you're seeing so many sell or buy headlines is because George Pickens has become the focal point of a really uncomfortable choice for the Cowboys. Picture this with me. You've added a dynamic playmaker who's been producing at a high level since arriving. He's on the last year of his deal, and suddenly every trade deadline scenario becomes about whether you double down and keep him or cash in and get picks to reload. That's exactly where we stand right now. The rumor mill says the Cowboys haven't fully engaged on an extension yet, and that opens the door to both serious trade chatter and a genuine risk of losing him in free agency if you wait too long. So right away, you need to ask, is Dallas a buyer or a seller at this deadline? If they're in win-now mode, the smart play is to lock down the player who's helping you win games. If they're worried about long-term flexibility, they'll at least listen for offers that accelerate a rebuild or a retool. Now, don't miss the obvious. Pickens isn't just some depth piece. Since joining the Cowboys, he's been producing like a difference maker. And that's the whole reason teams are circling with trade ideas right now. This is why the conversation isn't theoretical. It's urgent. I want you to do two quick things for me right now while you're watching. One, if you're not subscribed yet, hit subscribe. We're pushing to 16,000, and every new sub helps us get more Cowboys content out fast. And two, type either extend or trade in the comments below. One word only that will tell me where the fan base is leaning before we dig deeper. In the next chapter, I'll unpack exactly what Pickens brings to the offense and walk through the stats and tape that make him so valuable. And yes, I'll go over the specific offers that have leaked out, so you can decide if any of them are worth taking. Let's talk about what makes George Pickens such a big deal in this offense, because the debate over whether to trade or extend him only makes sense when you understand exactly what he brings. Pickens isn't just another receiver who benefits from CeeDee Lamb drawing coverage. He's the guy who punishes defenses that overcommit to Lamb's side. He's that physical contested catch monster who can win deep balls, make sideline plays look routine, and completely shift the way Dak Prescott can attack a defense. You can feel his presence in how defensive coordinators call games. Safeties have to respect his boundary routes, which opens more room inside for tight ends and slot targets. That balance has been missing for the Cowboys in recent years. When you go through the numbers, it's even clearer why the idea of trading him sounds crazy. Through 8 games, Pickens has hauled in 43 receptions for 6 touchdowns and nearly 700 yards, averaging close to 16 yards per catch, and moving the chains 30-plus times. That's elite complementary production, the kind of stat line you see from receivers on legitimate playoff teams. When you combine that with Lamb's reliability and the flashes from Jake Ferguson, it finally feels like Dallas has a complete passing attack again. One that can actually keep up with the high-powered offenses in the NFC. Now, there's another part that doesn't always show up on a box score: the chemistry he's building with Dak. Watch any post-game interview or sideline shot, and you see the trust starting to grow. Dak's not forcing throws. He's giving Pickens chances because he believes he'll make the play. That's what every quarterback needs in crunch time. And the more that bond develops, the higher Pickens' price tag climbs. That's why every week, the front office waits. That potential extension number just keeps going up. If they're serious about building around Dak long-term, keeping a reliable outside threat like Pickens isn't a luxury. It's a must. Here's what I want to know from you. Drop it in the comments right now. Do you think Pickens is already a top 20 receiver this season? Just type yes or no. And while you're at it, hit that like button if you believe he's helped the Cowboys offense open up more than any new addition in the last few years. Because in a second, we're going to break down those rumored trade packages that have been circulating all week, from the Patriots to the Bills, Seahawks, and Texans. Some of them sound tempting on paper, but when you look closer, they might just be selling short on a player who's finally giving this offense its edge again. Stick around. We're diving right into the trade details next. When these trade proposals first surfaced, fans were quick to call them ridiculous. And honestly, it's hard to blame them. The first rumored deal has Pickens heading to the New England Patriots. In return, the Cowboys would get wide receiver Eft Chisholm, a young undrafted guy who flashed ADE little in preseason, plus a second-round pick and a sixth-rounder, both in 2026. On paper, that looks like a decent return, a young player and 2 future picks. But when you think about it, that package is basically asking Dallas to give up a proven playmaker for a lottery ticket. You'd be moving off a legitimate offensive weapon for the hope that one of those future picks pans out 2 years down the line. And let's be honest, this team has been in close but not quite mode for years. Adding more future picks doesn't move you closer to winning right now. Then there's the Buffalo Bills offer, a 3rd round and a 7th round pick in exchange for Pickens and a 6th round pick going back. So you'd be losing Pickens and slightly upgrading your draft capital. That's not even close to fair value. You could draft a 1st-round receiver next year and still not get the immediate production you're getting from Pickens today. It's not even a debate. Unless Dallas decides to blow it all up and rebuild, which doesn't seem to be the plan, there's no logical reason to consider that deal. Next up, the Seahawks package. This one reportedly includes a 3rd-round pick and a 6th-round pick for Pickens straight up. Again, 2 mid-round selections. For a top-tier receiver? No way. This might work for a rebuilding team, but for the Cowboys, a team that's right on the edge of contention, that's just another step backward. It feels like one of those Jerry Jones, we can find another Pickens with those picks type arguments. But let's be real. Lightning doesn't strike twice that easily. You don't trade a 25-year-old receiver hitting his stride and expect to replace him with a 3rd-round rookie. The last rumored package comes from the Texans. They'd offer one of their 2 second-round picks, specifically the higher of the 2, in exchange for Pickens. Now, that's the best deal of the 4. It's at least something you could look at twice and think, all right, that's an early 2nd-rounder. Maybe we could flip it for another move. But even then, you're still giving up a proven player at a premium position when you already have the cap space to pay him. So unless there's some major behind-the-scenes issue we don't know about, trading Pickens for picks, any of these packages really, just feels like settling. If I'm being completely honest, these trades tell me more about how other teams view the Cowboys than how Dallas should view itself. They see a team with offensive talent, a team that's frustrated, and they're hoping to swoop in and take advantage before the front office figures it out. But this fan base knows better. The team doesn't need more potential. It needs production now. And George Pickens is production. So this is where it all really comes down to business. Forget the highlight reels for a second. The George Pickens situation is about timing, value, and trust. The Cowboys have to decide if they're ready to commit or if they're just going to repeat a familiar mistake. Because let's be honest, this team has a long history of waiting too long to handle its best players' contracts. Remember how the Micah Parsons talk started way earlier than it needed to? Yet here we are, still waiting for a deal? The same pattern could repeat itself with Pickens if the front office doesn't move fast. Right now, his market value is climbing with every game he plays. Analysts are projecting his next contract could hit or even exceed $30 million per year. That's the going rate for elite wide receivers, and Pickens is trending toward that level. But here's the thing, Dallas can afford it. This team has one of the healthiest cap situations in the league, plenty of flexibility for next season, and a chance to lock in two dynamic weapons at wideout for the next several years. When you've got cap space and a quarterback like Dak Prescott who thrives with consistent chemistry, why gamble it away? Because if they wait too long, the only options left are to either overpay later or lose him entirely. That's why this wait-and-see approach feels so risky. Every week you delay, the price tag goes up, and the leverage shifts more toward the player. Now, there's always the counter-argument, the idea that extending a big-name receiver limits flexibility down the road. It's true that a contract north of $30 million could make future roster moves trickier, especially when Micah's deal comes due. But the reality is, if you let a young, productive player walk away, you're not saving money. You're just creating another hole you'll need to fill. And filling it with a rookie or a mid-tier veteran will cost you time, which is the one thing this roster doesn't have. This core group is built to win now. If you start selling off pieces, you're telling the locker room that you don't believe in what you've built. And that message spreads fast. Think about what Pickens represents. Not just yards and touchdowns, but energy, attitude, and that edge the offense has been missing. Guys in the locker room notice that. Dak notices that. If you trade him, you're not just losing a playmaker, you're risking chemistry at the exact moment it's starting to click. So while the extend versus trade debate sounds like a spreadsheet discussion, it's really about identity. Are the Cowboys still chasing the idea of being a contender? Or are they finally ready to act like one? All right, here's where we tie it all together. We've gone through the trade rumors, Pickens' stats, the 4 packages on the table, and the extension math. Now it's time to think about what this all means for the Cowboys and for you as a fan. Let's be honest, the majority of fans watching this are leaning one way. Keep George Pickens. He's proven, he's reliable, and he makes the offense more dynamic every single week. Trading him for mid-round picks or unproven players doesn't just hurt production. It sends the wrong message about what this team is trying to build. Look, the temptation to trade a guy on an expiring deal is understandable, especially if the team is struggling. But the Cowboys aren't rebuilding. They're a team on the cusp of contention, and the easiest way to stay competitive is to pay the guy who's helping you win games. From what we've seen, fans are frustrated with the front office's timing. Waiting until the last minute to talk about an extension has everyone on edge, and the comparison to Micah Parsons' situation isn't lost. It's a pattern, and this time it would be a huge mistake to repeat it. Pay him, extend him, and keep building an offense that has real playoff potential. Because losing Pickens after 8 fantastic games would be nothing short of a missed opportunity, and it would make this season feel like a step backward. Now, here's where I want you to engage. Drop a comment telling me exactly what you would do if you were Jerry Jones. Extend or trade, and why. I'm genuinely curious to see how this fan base reacts. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Our goal is 16,000 subscribers, and each one helps us bring more up-to-the-minute Cowboys coverage right to you. Share this video with other fans too. Let's get the conversation going across Cowboys Nation. In conclusion, my take is simple. The Cowboys should extend George Pickens now. Lock him in, pay the money, and keep building an offense that has real playoff potential. Trading him for mid-round picks or unproven talent doesn't help the team win today, and it risks undoing the chemistry that's finally coming together. This is one of those do-the-obvious-thing moments, and Dallas can't afford to hesitate. So for now, keep an eye on the news, follow the updates, and trust that keeping your best playmakers is always the smarter move. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. We'll be back soon with more trade rumors, cap analysis, and everything you need to know about America's team. Peace out, and I'll see you next time here.